Muy buenos días a todos los aquí presentes.
Welcome everyone this afternoon.
Agradecida de poder compartir esta experiencia musical con cada uno de ustedes, pero especialmente con estos talentosísimos músicos.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here to experience this beautiful panel with all those professionals here today.
Esta maravillosa ciudad de New Orleans, que es música, fiesta, alegría, comparte muchas cosas con nuestro país, la República Dominicana, y estar aquí para mí es una gran felicidad.
So this great and beautiful city of New Orleans, we share a lot of cultural, path with Dominican Republic and the Caribbean also. So I'm so happy to be here today.
Quiero que cada uno de ustedes disfrute de lo que vamos a compartir y vivir en el día de hoy. Aquí no vinimos a hablar mucho, sino a disfrutar de cada una de las cosas que nos van a exhibir nuestros artistas. Por lo que les pido estar atento, disfrutar y sean cada uno de ustedes bienvenido a esta hermosa velada.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just here to say a few words and support this event, and I'm looking forward to understand and learn about all the things that we have to say, all the professionals have to say to you today. So it's Janina Torres, Consul of the Dominican Republic in New Orleans. Welcome.
All right, so we have a couple of guests that have not been able to make it yet because they're like in traffic. You know, the weather hasn't been collaborating that much. But I do want to start by introducing myself. My name is Javier Olondo. I'm a Cuban-American guitarist. I am a professor at Tulane University here in New Orleans, where I'm head of the guitar department. I'm also a producer of festivals, a TV show, and a newspaper. And I serve as director of Cervantes Foundation, which is a nonprofit that has the mission to promote the Latino arts and culture in our state. So first I have to say that I'm honored and very, very happy to be here among this immense talented artists that I have here with me. And today we are gonna discuss a little bit about the influence of Latin music in New Orleans. So I think it's a fascinating theme that has deep roots for many years now, but I think that this is a very good moment for Latin music here in New Orleans, and that's why we're up here talking about it. So I hope that you all can participate and ask questions. We will be also interpreting or translating if they're not comfortable in English to express. I have to say that we performers are much more comfortable playing than talking.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
we're kind of nervous, all that. So please bear with us. But I would like to start with maybe each one of my fellow or colleagues to introduce themselves and tell me who they are and also what's their background. How did you get to New Orleans and where are you coming from and how did you get started in the music? Let me start with the lady first, yeah? Yes. Ladies first. So Cristina
Good job,
Kaminis.
Javier. Hi, everybody. My name is Cristina Kaminis. I'm Mexican American. I've lived here in New Orleans for 4 years, so I very much feel like I'm still getting my bearings here. I moved here from New York City. I was there for about 15 years in an international jazz band, I would say, because we do music in a lot of different languages. But the band that I put together here is kind of a hodgepodge of styles and languages, and it very much reflects my current identity crisis that I have being Mexican American, and I was born in Spain, and so I like to mix styles. I sing French music, and then I'll go into a samba because some of the musicians are Brazilian, and then I'll sing a Mexican ranchera, and then sing a blues. So it's kind of all over the map, very much like what's going on here. And I love New Orleans, and I'm glad that she's let me in. ¿Quién más?
Yeah, so let's continue with Fermín Ceballos.
So yeah, I'm Fermín Ceballos. I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I came here 2012. And since that time, was just looking for opportunity to share and learn music. Is I can do, I can't do many things, but the few only things that I can do music it's just my life. It's the way that I grow up. It's the way that I live every day. So being here in New Orleans since that time was a dream to me, because I always looking forward to mix my culture through music with other culture, with other genres, with other sounds. So being here in New Orleans, I got like the opportunity to do this on my hand, day by day, day by day, just every day. So since that time, I'm been playing on different music spots like festivals, private events, recording, making collaboration with others artists, just not only Latinos, like from different countries, different genres, and different vision on music. And also, I remember, like today, the first time that here Javier Olondo gave me the opportunity back in 2012 to join his band many times and learn about Cuban music, and also played like my accordion. And so it's been great. All the things that we was able to achieve through the years here in New Orleans, and to see the music, the Latin music, Latin sounds growing across Louisiana and across the country is something interesting, something really good.
Giovanni Santos, Brazil.
Good afternoon, everyone. I fell on this panel by accident today. I wasn't supposed to be sitting here. I was supposed to be sitting there listening to folks, but let's go.
Gotcha.
I was lured in. Okay. It's like they're all friends and colleagues and people that I've worked with before. So I am from Brazil, born and raised there. And I came to the United States to study jazz, to learn more about jazz and the culture that people do here in New Orleans. And tomorrow it completes 10 years. You know, it's like I flew in from Brazil here like May 10th, 2015. So it's 10 years tomorrow. So everybody's saying what they do professionally. So here in the city, I work as an educator. I teach middle school and elementary school and also high school. And I'm also a professor at Tulane University, where I'm currently doing my PhD in Latin American studies, studying the history and of the people of Latin America, specifically the people of Brazil, and the connections between Brazilian music and U.S. American music. So like jazz and Brazilian music kind of colliding together, and how that kind of influenced the way people perceive Brazil as a nation and the people of Brazil, and also how I am, inserted in this context of being a musician that plays both jazz and Brazilian music and classical music, and how I navigate these dynamics. So I play Brazilian music primarily, but I can also play anything else.
I would like to start asking Cristina. I mean, you talked a bit about it. How is your process of adaptation or integration into the Latin scene, or into the musical scene, I should say, here in New Orleans? How's it been? Has it been a challenge, or?
Yes. I'm still figuring it out. No, I mean, the thing is, when I lived in New York City, I was in a band where I wasn't the band leader and I didn't call the shots. So I moved to New Orleans and started my own project under my own name, and that was really just 4 years ago, and I'm 40 now, right? So I feel like I got a quote-unquote late start. And finding what that was has been kind of a journey, because it started off as jazz, entre parentheses, I suppose, because that's what I knew. And then I met another Brazilian guitar player who taught me some Brazilian songs that I didn't already know. And then I said, but I'm Mexican, I have to play Mexican music. And we added the Mexican angle to it. And it's become such it's become its own thing, right? And it's hard to, I guess, I don't want to say sell yourself because that sounds kind of weird, but promote yourself when everybody wants to pigeonhole people in general. And I don't think people do that out of malice. It's just I think humans have they want to have a sense of control and they want to know where to put you, right? So that they can make sense of things. And often I don't know where that is. So I've played Que Pasa Fest, which you put together. Thank you for putting me in that festival. Or I just played the Jazz Fest tent cultural pavilion, which was Mexican themed. So for me, I was like, that's great. And then and in my head I said, but can I sing my originals that are in English? And so I have this kind of trying to figure myself out, and it's kind of a fun process, but it's also scary. And New Orleans has been, but I feel like if there's any city to do that, it's this city, because this city is a mix of so many things, Spanish, French. It's got the African roots and Mexican. I learned recently that Mexicans, in 1884, there was a Mexican band that came and played a bunch of brass instruments. Eso. And they I don't know how true it is. You'll probably know more if it was as influential as people say, that this 80-piece Mexican brass band, the Mexican band came here and played all these brass instruments and may have influenced the brass bands that we hear today.
Yeah.
It's a big statement. I am not a music historian, but I found that fascinating that Mexican music may have had some impact on New Orleans music.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to give some historical context, in the time the Spaniards were rulers of Louisiana, there was a lot of presence of even Cuban music, being El Cabildo here, and do we have Victor.
Look who's here. Mira que llegó.
And I think the influence of many genres like danzones and from Cuba and danzas mexicanas, danzas from Mexico, have been present, all the way from the 1800s, then on the 20th century, with all the being a port that is so important in New Orleans, and also the connection with Latin America and the Caribbean. Predominantly, I think that brought a lot of music to the city, and a lot of what we're experiencing today too. So we are here because of that too. Giovanni, I know you in 10 years that you made just today. Is it today? Today, tomorrow. Well, okay. Well, congratulations. But Giovanni has touched a little bit of every single genre here, from classical music to traditional jazz. He has been influenced by many artists, from Steve Masakowski to big names in traditional jazz here in New Orleans. So you've been smart in trying to learn from the musical scene of New Orleans, but also I've seen that you have matured a lot in these years, where you have now your own style. You are a composer as well, and I've been enjoying the latest stuff that you've been doing. Tell us about that process, because that speaks to that adaptation into the musical scene here.
Just touching a little bit of what Cristina said, it's like this whole thing of creating your own voice and putting out things that original, but yet pay tribute and make reference to the things that are part of your roots and the solid foundation of what you believe and the things that you like and appreciate in culture. I think that's like the start of where I'm at, because I grew up playing classical music. I have 2 degrees in classical music from Brazil, and then I came to the United States trying to learn jazz. So it's with this mindset, this mentality of I'm not a music historian, but it's with the mentality of a historian, just absorbing and observing and experiencing and immersing myself in situations that's at times I didn't know how to play things, but just being challenged to the point of learning because you have to, and not because I have aptitude, but it's just learning how to do it. So over these 10 years, I did play most of everything, from I've played gigs playing Cuban music. Do I know how to play Cuban music? Like, I don't know how to play Cuban music, but it's like I've played Dominican music, and it's like, do I know how to play Dominican music? Like, I don't know, but it's like, it's more of a thing of like listening, more of a thing of like always being like, you know, humble enough to like be taught and even like be told that like you don't know, so you have to like search for things, you know, like Professor Javier said, there's like this branching out of things that I do, you know, like incorporating things. For example, I have a couple of my compositions that do communicate with the cultures of Brazil, which is like, that's my upbringing. So I have a lot of like my repertoire, like my catalog of compositions. They are the traditional rhythms of Brazil, but I also have songs that pay reference and tribute and pay homage to the music of New Orleans. You know, like I have like tunes that can be played by a brass band, for example. I have like 2 tunes that I wrote, like specific with the sense of like a brass band sound. I have also traditional jazz that can be played with like preservation hall, you know, sonority. I have, you know, like New Orleans funk tunes as well. But it's like not in the sense of like trying to be a culture appropriator, but more so, you know, like putting my voice on it. But I also say, man, it's like I'm not a specialist. And the reason why I'm not a specialist, that's why this sound like this. You know, it's like the music has an accent.
I like that.
Jafet Pérez here from Dominican Republic. Finally made it. And there's a lot of traffic. The weather hasn't been that great. Jafet, I remember, it seems like it was yesterday when you got here to the city, right? It's been not too many years, but in these few years, I think that you've done a lot. I mean, you push yourself to play with many people, many artists, and now I think that you know, you are in the highest level of really penetrating New Orleans culture, playing with preservation and all that. Tell us about your experience a bit about working with New Orleans musicians.
Well, my first time I meet you and Fermín, I never have an idea I play with a lot of music from New Orleans, you know, the New Orleans music roots. So my experience for that is amazing because the music don't have any limits, you know. It's the music's life, it's love for everybody, every musician in the city. So it's like it's freedom. You play music for New Orleans, you know, because you never mean about. I wanna play like with you, for example. It's like it's new experience. It's new. It's freedom, bro. I can explain to you what's happening because it's the opportunity New Orleans have for every musician, you know. It's happening for everybody. It's not for me, it's for everyone here.
Very good. Víctor Campbell, mi hermano. Jefazo. Victor had the opportunity to come from Cuba when at an early age. Cuéntanos un poquito, ¿cómo fue tu experiencia cuando viniste la primera vez? ¿Qué encontraste aquí? Tell us a bit about your experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's a blessing to be here, and you know, sorry for delay because I'm from Cuba, like my brother say, and we use this time all the time being 10 minutes later. But there we go. It looks like I come, you know, riding my horse right now. But there we go. It's a blessing to be here in this city, and you know, we have a lot of fun in contact each other. Here we are sitting right now. But my first time here when I was 17 years old, and then I love all the time jazz, and my mom all the time told me to play classical. But I have a friend, he showed me Bill Evans, and it changed my mind. But I didn't know about New Orleans. I know about Louis Armstrong, but I didn't know it was a city with amazing music, the beginning, the alpha and the omega. I love to say about New Orleans because everything started here. And it's when I came here for first time, you know, and I listened the city, I was walking, summer just come, you know, 2012. It changed my life, and I decided, you know, return later, 5 or 7 years. But what's amazing experience, was my first time listening the great Ellis Marsalis. I was with one of the best families in terms of music, the Jordan family, Stephanie Jordan, Ken Jordan, Rachel Jordan, and I was in their houses. And all the time I was, trying to dig in this culture and the music and the sound and everything. And each in my life, I think I'm really proud and really, really blessing and grateful to be here in this city, fine New Orleans about it.
How do you think that the music of New Orleans, all the music that you have touched and you've been influenced by, has enriched your playing? ¿Cómo te ha enriquecido la música de aquí?
Oh, yeah. In terms of piano, we have a lot of point in contact with Cuba piano too. If you listen Professor Longuer, you're gonna listen some congas, percussion, and James Booker listen to the Quona too, and all the time we have trying to figure out what's going on in Cuba. The piano players, they are my heroes like Chucho Valdez, Bebo Valdez, and each others. They listen all the time about blues. And when I listen here, I could find some point in contact. For example, Goldschatz is the beginning about before the Scott Joplin, when came here, was before in Cuba. And have point in contact with Ignacio Cervantes. It's classical roots that we have, more than me about. And it's a lot of point in contact, New Orleans piano and Cuba piano. And right now, I wanna, my point of view, I wanna put everything together, but in contemporary sound, and maybe being a little sacrilegious, a little crazy. I hope you don't fire me yet, but I'm working about it to put different sounds about Cuba and New Orleans together, and I'm working in my album about it. But yes, it's a lot of point of the New Orleans in my way to play the piano right now.
Yeah, I do hear much about that when you play. Sometimes I heard you at Jazz Fest with Alexei Marti, and you did an introduction where kind of touched a little bit of the gospel music too, and it was a lot of fun. So what I would like to ask you, could you play a little bit for us, maybe a little short piece? Una piececita.
I didn't know it's gonna be.
Because I see everybody's like, oh my gosh,
right
they're
now
talking and they're
play.
talking.
Yes, Alexei Marti is it's important piece for me, and maybe. Because we put together, my first gig was with Brent Ross, but really gig in the biggest stage like right now. Example, Jazz Fest was with Alexei Marti, and I so blessed in them. Maybe I play one song he composed about it. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Virtuoso, carajo.
La culpa es él, la culpa es él, la culpa es él.
By the way, I was at that show, the Alexei Marti show. It was incredible.
So who wants to go next? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I mean, it's wonderful because I mean, you as audience are watching us just talk, right? But I've seen these people just in action, right? And that's what's wonderful about music and music in New Orleans and our interaction with our different backgrounds with the music of New Orleans. The music in New Orleans is very much alive. So we can say many, many things, but you have to experience it. You have to go down Frenchman. You have to go down to any of the gigs of these people that these people are playing, and you will experience what we are talking about, but live in a very organic, because we learn. I'm a classical guitarist, but I could not stay away from playing other types of music because New Orleans does that to you. You know, it does not let you live without experiencing what community and music is all about, right? And communication and the love for music. So my question, because we talked, and it's funny because this the talk is about the influence of Latin music in New Orleans, but each one of them have said a little bit about how the New Orleans music touched them, right? So, and I think that's important because to understand this is a two-way street where, yes, we give our art to New Orleans, but New Orleans gives us so much back, and then we transform ourselves into a different type of artist or different music. So going back to that question, how do you think our Latin music has impacted or how it influences New Orleans music? If anyone wants to speak to that. Let's start with Giovanni.
So one thing that's important to say is that there were places in the city in the past, you know, saying this is probably before the time that all of us were in the city, you know, that they were very important for the development of Latin music or Latino music in New Orleans. And one of them that's like is probably like the one that's like the closest to us in time is Café Brasil, which is a space that used to live in the corner of Royal and Frenchman Street. If you go down to Frenchman Street now, the name of the place is Favela Chic, is owned and managed by a guy from Brazil, but he's no longer doing what Café Brasil used to be. So that place used to be basically, you know, the meeting point of all the Latinos in the city. There were some places in Metairie and Kenner and like outside of the city a little bit, if you think, but it's like in terms of like New Orleans, you have that point. That was the place where you had like Javier Gutierrez. He had like many gigs in there. Hector Gallardo. He had like many of his trios in there. You had like Casa Samba, which is like a Brazilian drum group that it's in town that like they do capoeira. They also do dance. They also had gigs there like regularly. And it was a thing that's like, it was a community that were basically, you know, just like building off that specific spot because no other places in the city, unless it was like private gigs and things, would give opportunities for Latin music to happen. So that's like, it's a very important place that people don't really talk too much about because, you know, it's like I said, it's like, it's close enough to us in time, but at the same time, it's not. But then you have, you know, the Garifuna people. That's like they're very important. They're here for a long time. You have like the Salvadoran people. They're also here for a long time. The Mexicans are also here. The Cubans. There was a wave of Brazilians that came to town after Katrina to reconstruct the city. You have the, you know, like people from like the Caribbean. If you think about it, you have the Haitians back when you had the Haitian Revolution, and people basically like fled the Saint-Domingue and the place where they went because at the time New Orleans was a French colony. It was to New Orleans, you know. So you have like a lot of people, you know, just like from these places, just like on this come and go. And you also have like the United Fruit Company, which had their operations like down the street right here, like on the riverfront, and also the building like a couple blocks down was a very important, I would say, like point of contact, like Victor was saying, but it's like it was part of like the exploitation of the entire region of like Central America and also the north part of South America with the exports of tropical fruits. So they would come to New Orleans from all the Caribbean and South America. And from here, you would either hit the rail tracks or the Mississippi River and then distribute to the entire country. So with this influx of like ships coming from, you know, like all like Guatemala, you have like, you know, like Nicaragua and so, what have you, you have also the influx of people that come with the boats and come to work here. And like before borders were so strict as they are today, you had this like this come and go people, and people just like settled in the United States, if you think about it.
Yeah. So there's been wave of migrations of Latinos here in New Orleans over many years, right? And it's very well documented. So if you want to read more about it, there's a wonderful work by Tomás Montoya. He's an ethnomusicologist, and he talks about more of the 20th century of what happened with the migrations of Cubans and Hondurans and now Mexicans. And well, the thing is that we are a very diverse Latin American, Caribbean people right here. So we're all mixed together, right? So there's not predominantly anybody at this point, but we all integrate this big, huge culture, and now we're part of the culture of New Orleans too. So my next question is probably for Jafet. You know, it's more musical. How do you think, or what similarities do you find between the music of New Orleans and your own music of your country of origin? You know, in this case, Dominican Republic.
It's the same, very close, because New Orleans, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, we have, I think by myself, is the same roots. Because New Orleans have it, what is called second line. In my country, we have Gaga, or Palo. In Haiti, they have the same name, is Palo or Aboko. In second line, it's more easy. But you can dancing the same. It's the front wall, second line. My country, Gaga. Haiti. So it's the same.
They all connect.
You know, it's everything together.
I'm sure everybody in the audience understood every the little differences between all the rhythms that you just exposed, right? You know, there's going to be a quiz at the end of this.
Yeah, we have like a little controversy between my country, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, because you know what's happening with the limit. But I think the music is just one. Is what I think. The music is just one. It's one life. It's one spirit.
Right. For those that are maybe not musically savvy, right? The syncopation is what he's talking about also, you know, which creates that excitement in the music, right? It's where you have an accent on a beat that you normally wouldn't expect an accent, right? So instead of normally if you have 4/4s, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and that 1 is a strong beat naturally, right? But if you put that accent on the 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, that starts creating excitement, and then you play with that pattern of syncopation, and you know, in different ways, of course, like he's explaining. But I want to go now and talk to Cristina about that. Do you find any kind of common ground between the music of New Orleans and Mexico in this case?
Pues principalmente, okay. Mostly, I would say the brass band influence. O sea, ves unos mariachis, you see the mariachis, and they have the tuba and funny enough, the local mariachi band consists of mostly Cubans, no? The Mariachi Jalisco. Son cubanos, which really helps me with my identity crisis when I play Cuban music. Because sometimes I play Cuban music, and if Victor's there or Yusa's there, I'll be like, oh no, my God. I don't know what I'm Mexican, I'm doing it wrong. But then I heard that Mariachi Jalisco son cubanos. So that's great, because it's cool, because I feel like we all share our music with each other. Y está todo bien. But I would say that the wind instruments, that banda mexicana, the 8th Cavalry band from 1884 that came for this cotton fair, and I guess like blew everybody away. when they came to New Orleans and stayed here for like months and played shows, and everybody was like, "Man, these guys are tight." And I read some of the comments in newspapers from back then, and they were just I guess New Orleans was impressed by how disciplined and tight these musicians were. And I don't know if already there was some brass, if that was, but apparently it did leave a mark.
You're right.
No? And yeah, if you see a mariachi band with their tubas and their trompetas y todo, and then you see a brass band, you're like, well, I mean, there's some similarities there.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody was here for Jazz Fest. Jazz Fest was dedicated to Mexico this year, and they had processions of Mexicans, in a kind of a second line. So it was very interesting to watch how, similar it was,
The Mardi Gras Indians.
Yeah.
And then they would have a whole other group from, I think there was a group from Jalisco, indigenous group, and you would see the similarities. It was kind of wild.
Yes.
Fermín
Ceballos has been an ambassador of Dominican culture here in New Orleans, bringing artists and also being head of exchanges between New Orleans and República Dominicana. Fermín, tell us about your own experiences as a producer too, as somebody that is interested in even developing more of those musical exchanges.
So first I want to say thank you, every one of you, for being part of this panel, and every one of you for being here today. And this is organized by the Dominican NOLA Fest, and in partnership with the New Orleans Jazz Museum. I'm so happy that we have a really good crowd, and everybody seems like enjoying the panel. So my own experience with music, first as a musician, the general thing that I find as a musician, or we all musicians, is music is the way that we express ourselves in many ways. And produce, you are a producer too, and I think somehow we all are producer. But produce have an special thing, talking about myself, and it's kind every time that you produce something, even if it's a music, a festival, or TV show like you, or so you learn. This is something very special about to produce. Every time that you are producing something, you are learning in the process, because even if you have the idea on your head, when you are putting this idea on sounds or an event or something, you have to do little changes, little adjustments. So producing to me is being like a really good learning process every day. But talking a little bit about the Dominican NOLA Fest, so Dominican NOLA Fest was born because I admire like many festivals in town that I really played, like Jazz Fest, French Quarter Fest, Festival Internacional, Que Pasa Fest, and many others. And I say, but it's not like nothing about the Dominican culture here. So, and this is like a multicultural city. So, and the idea of the Dominican NOLA Fest born because first I want to showcase my culture with New Orleans or Louisiana, but in an educational way, because a lot of people know the sound of bachata and they dance bachata, but they don't know the history and the process about, behind this bachata. But also was like to help. So I am from in the small town in the middle of the mountain of the Dominican Republic. And when I born and raised over there, so I never had the opportunity, to listen like a jazz or things like that. Only in the TV sometimes, you see like some blues on the movie, but never live like when I came to New Orleans. But also, I had the opportunity to go to music school in Dominican Republic, the University Autónoma of Santo Domingo. But in my country, in my small town, you have a lot of people that they have a limit limited resources, that they can buy an instrument, they can go to school of music. So the idea to put Dominican NOLA Fest is to raise funds and come back to my country and help music schools in Dominican Republic. So, and this is the we've been doing for the last 3 years with the New Orleans Jazz Museum and others institution. And this is how the trip that we set up the cultural exchange. So go back to Dominican Republic, brings us instrument, connect with other cultural and government and no government institution, and grow up that path. So bring more instrument, more cultural, and also when we go in this cultural exchange, we got the opportunity to bring New Orleans things. Like, you know, last year we brought like Vernon Severin. He is a drummer, and he played before with Professor Longhair, with Fat Dominos, and many others like you know, jazz or music player from New Orleans. So, and he showcased the experience in this story with a student at the University of Santo Domingo. So produce is really, myself is really excitement. You know, Socorro Brank here, my girlfriend, she always say, oh, so you always doing something, man. So finish that. This is production. So you always looking for, you know, to do things. So talking a little bit about music. So I got the opportunity to work with Rock and Dubsy Jr. I think many of you know Rock and Dubsy Jr. So I'm an accordion player, and I play merengue. And one day, you know, I saw like a Rock and Dubsy playing. I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing, Zydeco." And we got the opportunity to talk. And I say, "Man, can we do a song together?" I say, "Yeah, we can do it." So as I say, "Really, maybe?" So and I start just writing the lyric, and I present the lyric to him, and I say, "Hey, man, I got the lyrics, I got the arrangement. Can we do the song?" And let me tell you, I learned a lot from that process because I'm not a Zydeco player. But I love Zydeco, and I know a little bit. So, and the experience with Rock and Dubsy was amazing because it's talking about production. He's a master, you know, the singer, musician. But also that I learned, don't matter your level. If you present a project to somebody as a musician or company or whatever, and this project is well done, it's gonna be realized. And this is something that I learned. I present the project to him, every little details. But I also said, if you want to change anything, just do it. And I remember he said, you know, y'all the master, just I'll do whatever y'all want it, because I know you're not a Zydeco player, and I'm not a bachata or merengue player. So from this union, there's going to be something else between that. So, and this was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Fermín is very passionate about many things, community, and of course, bringing together different artists. He's also a poet, and he's a songwriter. So I would love for him maybe to sing one of his songs, or
The guitar or accordion?
No.
Okay, coge una vaina y a la tambora ahí. Okay. And talking about collaboration, me and Cristina, we're working on the song together. So, Jafet, ¿cuál es la tambora que tú vas a agarrar? Coge una vaina ahí. So, I got the opportunity again to play in different festivals across the state and across the country. And I saw like many people like you dancing like bachata, cumbia, salsa, and merengue and all of that. But, you know, the lyrics is in Spanish. I say, you know what? But let me see if I can at least try to write something in Spanglish, you know. And I wrote this merengue. Like 1 week, 2 weeks ago. So I want you to, so Jafet, we played at Jazz Fest last week, and I say, Jafet, I have a new merengue that we got to play, but I never hear it. I said, you will play. So it's called Dancing Merengue. if you can help me, Jafet, with the palm. Más rápido. Dancing merengue, I enjoy myself. Dancing merengue like nobody else. Dancing merengue, I enjoy myself. Dancing merengue like nobody else. I love la fiesta, I love the party. Dancing merengue like nobody. Okay, with me you say 1, 2. Whatever I say is gonna be good. You say dancing merengue. I wanna give you my heart. Dancing merengue. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. I wanna give you my heart. Dancing merengue. I enjoy myself.
Dancing merengue.
Like nobody else.
Dancing merengue.
Dame un trago de Brugal.
Dancing merengue.
Santo Domingo, qué lindo.
Dancing merengue.
Okay, thank you. So, and this is really good because I find a way, the simple lyrics, that anyone can sing aloud with us. And this is something that I learned through the years. It's like how to integrate the crowd into our shows, and this is giving us a good result.
Nice. I'd like to ask a question about what do you think that is still missing in the city, you know, to even develop more our presence here as Latin musicians? What would you think that we could benefit or get help to even open more doors, maybe not for us, but for some other Hispanic or Latino musicians in the city?
I think Venezuela. Here we have one band. It's called Nola Gaita. It's an amazing band. This guy living, I think, in Kenner or Meridi, this song. But I think Javier y Mariana. Ellos tienen una gran banda de gaita. And then I think we need to put it in the stage sometime.
So
please.
yes, promote them.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks of Latin music as dance music, right? And some music that it maybe doesn't fit into that doesn't get that much exposure, right? So that's what Jafet's saying, that there's a Venezuelan community that's growing here too, and they have a fabulous group that also plays many of their traditional rhythms and songs. Who else would want to talk about that? Cristina?
I would like more taco places in town. No, I'm just kidding. I know that has nothing to do with music, but listen. No, but you were talking about Café Brasil, and I really wish I had been here for it, because I do feel like this city might need another, like a Latin music venue that really is community. Like the people go to it, is what I mean, you know? Nothing like super fancy. No shiny walls, more like, I don't know, something that feels like you're in Latin America, ¿sabes?
Do you think there would be a market for that?
Yeah, totally.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
Because we will go play, but we're not going to have a business like that. Well, we have fellow musicians that have business, but sometimes it's a conflict. It's hard to manage both things, right? To be creative, to play, and also have a place, because that's a different story, right? Yeah. The business part of it is really tough.
Yeah, I think festival like Que Pasa Fest support a lot of Latino artists and non-Latino artists, and it's a good spot to showcase Latin music. But I think we need more joint projects, because we have it's really good and beautiful, like the gigs every day. I would love to play every day. I don't have the chance, but I would love to. But as a musicians and as a music creator, we need maybe this panel that we're doing, do more things like that, but also musically, like, joint projects and big projects. So I'm working on my head, and also I got some recordings talking about myself, and I would call it the New Orleans All Stars, and it's an album with 20 songs, showcasing different Latino artists and also New Orleans artists. So, and I think with that project, I want just to do like a concert series about that music. So I think Ash's song, the Javier's band, is one of the most amazing band here that like preserve like Cuban roots. Victor, he's a virtuoso, a piano player. Giovanni is an amazing. Is a scientific. Is that right? Un científico, ¿cómo se dice? Yeah, scientist of the music. Jafet is like a rhythm man. Cristina, beautiful voice, and a songwriter. I think we got a lot of potential here in New Orleans to take the Latin music to another level, but we cannot do it alone. So we need more support, like embrace the culture. Elena is here, and she is sponsoring this panel, for example, with the New Orleans Jazz Museum. So I think we have to keep playing music, expressing ourselves in different spots and in different ways. But I think if we would start a joint project, that could be something that can have like a better impact in the community.
Yeah, I think that like Fermín said, it's more projects, but also wonderful institutions like this one, like the New Orleans Jazz Museum, that has us talking about our influence and how the city has influenced us. So I think that they're very, very supportive. They always support any crazy ideas that we might have, and we're very, very grateful for that. I need to also do a shout out to the DJs that play Latin music. That's important too. Yeah. The dancers. There's a huge dance community that do salsa dancing, Latin dancing. Not only salsa, merengue, bachata, kizomba. And it's growing, and I think that we also play for them, and they also come support us. So we're in a good moment, I think, of Latin music here in the city, and like we said, or we kind of like stated, it's that we are here, but we are here as part of the culture now, and it's beautiful to see how the music is developing every day, and how our lives take different turns. It's very exciting. Right here, I feel it's kind of weird that we're just talking and not playing and not doing music, but each one of these fellows here, I mean, we had opportunities to play together, and we had opportunities also to jam sometimes and improvise, and I think that's what's it's nice and beautiful about New Orleans, and about us being here and feeling so great in this city that we're part of now. We call it home. So I think that how much more time we have? I don't know.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
Maybe we can someone como un cuarto tour, algo así.
I don't know. Yeah, that could be.
Un cuarto tour, así tú puedes dar alguna cosita de instrumento.
Giovanni, when I play like a samba, something like that, the guitar. I know it's not your guitar. I say that because every guitarist have like his own setup on the guitar, but I know you can play any guitar. You can grab it. Whoa, whoa, y despedimos entonces con el cuarto del Tula.
Sí, terminamos.
Ay, ay.
Para que pueda cantar Cristina.
Exacto.
It's an original composition by Giovanni Santos.
So like I said, it's about like researching the culture and trying to like impose, not, I would say like impose, but just like have your own voice on it. So like it's traditional jazz, but have parts of the progression that's like stuff such as like I like. So it's like I'm gonna put this here because like I think it's cool.
I love that.
But then I'm also playing things that are related to like the culture here. It's like this whole like this. And I'm also like mixing a couple songs that I really like. There's this one song, it's a traditional song called "I'm Confessing That I Love You." It's part of this song. So is "Out of Nowhere." So these two songs are two songs that I really like. They're really like representative of like my upbringing, like learning how to play jazz back in Brazil. And when it come to the place of like me actually making a song, so it's like I said, I've been living here for like 10 years. So it's like listening, playing with people, and just like researching the culture. So it's like, how can I write a song that sounds like a New Orleans song, but that also has elements of like my own culture, or like all the elements of the things that I do. So like the bridge, for example, is like is my attempt to quote a little bit of Villa-Lobos. It's like you have the whole right. So like I have like a passage in that that's like it's related to that specific part, but it's like it's all like a blend, I would say.
Okay, now before we end, and maybe we have like a couple questions from the crowd. So I want to call Alana Harris from the city of New Orleans, Embrace the Culture. She really, and his leadership is one of the most supporter of Latino or Latin American culture here with Embrace the Culture program. So I want her to come and say a couple words and why and how she support Latino culture here. Alana Harris, come here. Hey.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out despite the weather to support these amazing artists and musicians. My name is Elena Harris. I represent the Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy, and we have an initiative called Embrace the Culture, where we support and uplift different sectors of the community. We met Fermín in about 2018, 2019, and he firmly let us know that we needed to support this community. And it has taken off since then. It's very easy to support. We want you all to know that you are an important part of this community. And projects like this make it easy for us to show up. We don't want to tell you how to do the project. We just want to add the support needed and spread the word. And I'm happy to see you collaborate with so many people. You bring everybody along with you. So let's give Fermín a hand. And the projects are endless. Dominican Fest, Dominican Fest NOLA, but also he does have a stream of ideas, and he creates opportunities for everyone to fit in. And with this year's theme of Dominican Fest NOLA, he's bringing along the local New Orleans artists. So stay connected to Fermín because he's always going places, and you all are welcome. You can follow us at Embrace the Culture NOLA on Instagram, and we have a newsletter, cultural news you can use. So feel free to reach out us there, and we want you to all know you're all welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I think we are out of time. They're telling me over there, but I do want to thank you all for coming out. I hope that you learned a little bit about our lives in Latin music here in New Orleans, and I do want to thank specifically the New Orleans Jazz Museum for having us and always supporting our projects and supporting our lives as musicians. I want Fermín to just do the closing remarks.
It's going to be short. So, Dominican NOLA Fest on Instagram, and it's going to be here at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, October 25th. Also, Que Pasa Fest on Instagram, too. It's a great festival to enjoy it and to learn about our culture. So thank you, everyone, for being here today. I also want to say thank you to Socorro. She is in charge of all the organization affairs and all of that of the New Orleans Jazz Museums, the New Orleans Jazz Museum of the Dominican NOLA Fest. Also, I want to say thank you to the New Orleans Jazz Museum for the opportunity, and also Victor, Cristina, Giovanni, and Jafet. So Giovanni was a really good accident to be here. So embrace the culture one more time. So thank you, Danny, and the entire crew of the New Orleans Jazz Museum. Thank you, every one of you, for being here. We got a list here. So if somebody want to leave like email or some contact for further events like this. So
and one last round of applause for everybody here in the team and for yourselves.
Thank you, Javier Olondo. So, vamos a hacer